Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. So, I guess you guys are doing your assignments really well and everything is as per your plan for this course. Rohit, my first, so I could get a question from Radha Krishnan. Okay. So he's saying, Rohit, my first week and second week assignments is showing some pendency. What it could be earlier it was showing as completed. Okay, Radha Krishnan, maybe there will be some error from the NPTEL side itself. So what you can do, you can write through your official Gmail address to the NPTEL email which is provided on the contact us page. Okay, so they will correct it. But please mention the course name, that is Environmental Impact Assessment, and course code, that is NOC 24 AR03. Okay. And don't worry, they generally correct these type of things very soon. So that's not a big problem. If you have submitted it on time, so it will show. No, will sir, I have a question because of my busy schedule. I did not complete assignment 3, so it will affect in final marks. Yeah, no, will it will affect the final marks actually, because all these assignments are actually on counted towards your final marks, so that's why they will always consider this. So don't worry, they don't have to actually, they don't carry much of weightage, but yeah, they do carry some weightage. Simpler or something. Wait. What's happening with the camera? This one is good. Yeah, this looks good. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, I think there was some problem with the background thing or camera, I don't know. So don't worry, Novel. Those assignment doesn't carry a lot of weightage, but yeah, they do carry a weightage. So be sure to submit these assignments next time when you do them on time. You will get the required marks. Okay. Don't know what's happening with the camera today. Okay. So no issues. Let me share my slides and then we will start the interaction session. Okay, so everything is okay. Let me share my slides. So once again, welcoming all to this live session of NPTEL course. This is Environmental Impact Assessment. This is live session 4 of Environmental Impact Assessment course on 19th of February 2024. Sorry, I think it's 28th. Okay. So on 28th of February 2024, the course instructor is Professor Harshit Sohan Lakra, and she is assistant professor in Department of Architectural Planning and in IIT Roorkee. I am Rohit. I am teaching assistant in this course. I am a PMR scholar at IIT Bombay. So how we have planned this course is that we'll have an interaction throughout this session. So basically, we will have a discussion on the topics that are being taught in the weekly lectures. Apart from that, we will have some doubt clearing session also. So if you have any doubt, like the Noel has asked or Radha Krishna has asked, so you guys can ask questions. And then main thing is that we wanted to interact with you students, like your doubts, your queries, anything you want to ask, you can ask in this live session. Okay. So apart from that, we also have a discussion forum that I showed you in the last class. So you can uh, go through the video, and in the last I've shown that where is the discussion forum. There is a tab called Ask a Question where you can go and click on the tab and get the post your queries, which will be answered by us or some of the course TAs. So any question related to live session conducted can be raised there. Let me see. Okay. Any question conducted in the live session can be raised there, and question will either be addressed in the forum or in the next week live session. Apart from that, you can always use the chat box and to get your query raised and answered. Okay. So the first question is you have to state whether this statement is true or false. So expect these type of question in the exam also, and these are pretty straightforward question. You just need to know whether this statement is true or false. So we have a statement here that is standard IS. Let me take a pointer. Standard IS 10500 2012 in India provides permissible and desirable limits for various parameters of drinking water. Okay. So basically, what are the standards and what is IS? So there is a agency called International Standards Organization that provides standards for all the countries. Okay. Similarly, in India, we have IS, International Standards. Okay. And these are basically published by Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS. They are basically uh, numbered documents which contain the various parameters and quality. Like if there is a drinking water, that is potable water, then what should be the drinking BOD, or what should be the metal, heavy metal contents, all those things are there. Okay. So standard IS, that Indian standard 10500 2012 in India is permissible and desirable limits for various parameters of drinking water. This is actually a true statement. Okay, clear. So basically the question comes is that we have these type of standards. Then who are the agencies which are responsible for generating water management in India? So I've taken this so, information from the slides itself. So generally we have Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So what these they do, they formulate policies and programs for the conservation of natural resources and pollution abatement, that is reducing pollution, and guidance for the sustainable development and enhancement of human well-being. So this is a ministry which we call Environment Ministry that provides the clearance for various projects. Then we have another important ministry called Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Because generally, what happens in somebody wants to join actually. Generally, what happens when because of the growth of urban cities and urban centers, we need to provide various facilities to them also. So who provide these facilities? So these facilities are actually provided by the urban local bodies. So we have got municipality, municipal corporation, these type of local bodies, urban local bodies that provide this stuff. So to provide a policy and framework, Ministry of Urban Housing and Urban Affairs provide the guidelines like what should be the specific standards or something. Generally, if we talk of ministry or something, they are generally very much related with policies or something, or guidelines or rules, or no monitoring the different programs or something. So that's what the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs do. Similarly, when we have something called water management, then Ministry of Jal Shakti is also a very important ministry. So and this is a very new ministry found in May 2094. Basically, they merged the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Earlier, it was Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation that looks after the supply of drinking water, potable drinking water to the various household. And there was Ministry of Water Resources that looks after the canals which goes to different parts of the country for agriculture and other purposes. Then we have river development and Ganga rejuvenation for optimal sustainability. And so our river Ganga. It was so important that there was a ministry of river Ganga itself. So this also merged into the ministry of Jal Shakti. Maintenance of quality and efficiency. So all these things are basically looked after by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Then we have a CPCB. I don't think I need to very much evaluate or uh, sorry, not to elaborate on the CPCB because throughout the last 3 or 4 weeks we are actually talking about different pollutions. So CPCB is the central body that looks after pollution in different streams like air, water, soil, health, everything. So, provision of technical services to the Ministry of Environmental and Climate Change regarding the Environmental Protection Act. So, this is there which powers the various Ministry of CPCB to frame guidelines and rules, okay, according to Water Act or something. Basically, for water management, we have Water Act, especially, and also EPA. Then we have SPCB, so they are basically state bodies that have a more or less similar functions to the CPCB. And we have CPHEO. This is very specialized bodies. Center Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization. Technical wing of the ministry is specialist in public health engineering and environmental engineering. So what the CPHEO do? They have a specialist of different field that looks after the different aspects of various urban environment or something that needs to be provided to the people. So they provide formulate guidelines or they suggest to the ministry that these much, like if waste had to be incinerated, then how much should be the calorific value of waste, how much should be the moisture content of the waste. These things are basically taken care by the CPHEO. Okay. Similarly, we have various technical documents. So I think like interstate organization, network forecasting, all those things. I think these also guides the institutional structure of water management in India, and better not to go much detail because all these things basically comes under the Ministry of Jal Shakti or all these different organizations which looks after the water management in India. Okay. Now, the question arises that there were a lot of things like here there were a lot of things MOE, FCC, MOA, then Ministry of Jan Shakti, CPC. So what are the some key facts or something which related to this ministry? So like if we talk about the most important body CPHU, it's totally a technical body consisting of specialists. So it was established in 1954, technical wing under the Ministry of Urban Development. Okay. What is its role? To assist the ministry matter related to urban water supply and sanitation, including solid waste management and stormwater drainage system. Okay. Then we have Ministry of Environment and Forest. So basically, they have different organizational structure like Joint Secretary, Advisor, Joint Secretary for Climate Change. Okay, and what they do, climate change activities and policy measures, other communications and submissions. India National Communication to the UNFCCC. So India has to submit every year their climate plan or something, national determined climate change goal or something. So what they do, they provide it to the UNFCCC and propose project proponent for the funding through different sources or something. Okay, then we have Ministry of Jal Shakti. So this is how this is one of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which is basically a flagship scheme of Ministry of Jal Shakti. So what are they observe that Jal Shakti Abhiyan aims at making water conservation, promotion, irrigation efficiency a public campaign through a set of creation communication campaign. The maps of district blocks where measures were carried out. So district with water stressed blocks. So you can see that these districts actually have uh, a less availability of water compared to high demand for it. So these are actually water stressed district with water stressed blocks, aspirational district, and these are district. So basically, some of the districts are actually identified as aspirational district, where various ministries combine and provide different funds to el- uh, mm, to improve the standards of living of these different districts. So these are aspirational district like third desert area or something. Okay, so these are also actually water stressed in the fact. And main question, main observation from this graph that key majority of the non-aspirational districts are also water stressed. This is one of the key points here. Okay, so this is what it will do. It will run from September 15, 2019. Okay, and intervention area is water conservation and rainwater harvesting, renovation of water body, renovation of borewell recharge structures, watershed development, intensive forestation. And then who is Ministry of Urban Affairs? So that's what we see in the last slide also. So Ministry of Urban Affairs is a top authority. It comes under the Government of India. In the country, this authority perform our task and they are all accomplished at the national level. These tasks are formulation of policy. That's what the ministry does generally, support and sponsor programs, coordinate various activities, state nodal center ministry, and monitor programs. Okay, so this is the function of Ministry of Urban and Housing Affairs. Yeah, I think you guys must have got a good clarity about the different organization and different things that do under these organization. Okay, let me see if anybody wants to join. Okay, Radha Krishnan is asking what is PMRF. Um, so this is totally different from the course which we are talking about, but I will give you a good guidance about this scheme. Actually, this is a fellowship for the PhD students at studying at different IITs in India and different ISRs and some of the NITs and some of the central universities. So the government of India provides with different funds for that, and this is a very prestigious fellowship actually. So you get a lot of funds for your research and all those things. Okay, so and in this fellowship you have to interact with the students once a weekly. So this is what we do for this. So once a weekly interaction is compulsory for us to interact with different students of different categories. Okay, now moving to the next slide, that is which institute is responsible for the management of resources in the coastal water nodal ministry with major responsibility for protecting marine environments including implementation of legislative measures. So Yeah, this is a very important question, but I think this is a quite easy and straightforward question. You see marine environment, you see implementation of legislative measures. So must be implementation, then must be ministry, not a technical body like CPHEO. Okay, and then we have coastal, nodal, everything is considered. Then Ministry of Environment and Forest. Okay, no Ministry of not Agriculture, Department of not Ocean Development, Ministry of not. And again, the question comes is what can be counted as legislative measures? What are legislative measures? So legislative measures are basically act like Environment Protection Act. These are legislative measures. Apart from act, the different guidelines or rules which fits those acts are also come under the legislative measures. Okay, so they actually make them compulsory. When you have a legislative measure, those things are compulsory. When you have a guideline, then it is non-binding, but you are supposed to follow them. Okay, so if there is a guideline to install some equipment in your industry, so this is a guideline for the benefit of overall population. But since those guidelines are actually termed as guidelines because they are guiding for doing something, so it's non-binding, but it is expected. Okay, but if there is a legislation or there is a rule that you need to follow, you have to follow it. Okay, now let's see some of the legislation. Okay, so some of the legislative measures can be Clean Air Act in 1971 to control emission level of various pollutants, Prevention of Pollution of Sea Water Act. Okay, Pollution Control and Drainage Act, Environment Public Health Act, Environment Public Health Regulation, Anti-Littering Laws, and so I don't think these are from Indian side. These are, I think, US Act or something. But this is one of the examples that, oh, these are from Singapore. Singapore's presence. Okay, this all these acts are from Singapore. But this is how a legislation basically looks like. And see, Singapore was very active. They passed the Environmental Public Health Act in 1968 and 1971 itself. The Clean Air Act is there. Okay, we passed our first environment related act in 1974, that is Water Act. Okay, so apart from that, I have also compiled a video search for a video which could explain the different rules and for the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. I think that will give you a good idea. So this video I have stored it from Tarang NSS IT Bombay. I thank them for the video. This is a very good video which will provide you with a good understanding about the concepts of Ministry of Environment in India. Okay, so let me play this video here. Yeah, Radhakiran is writing Singapore. Yeah, great. If nobody wants to join, no. Okay. Okay, so let's play the questionability zone. I think we are back here now. So everybody's break is over. Okay, so now let's move to the next slides. So let me see if yeah, question camera and everything is on. Recording is on. Okay, so discuss this. Now we move to the next. How many biosphere reserves were established by Government of India in the country? Category related to IUCN. Categorized related to IUCN. So basically, we'll talk about what is biosphere reserves. Basically, biospheres, wildlife sanctuary, everything. But before this, there were actually 18 biosphere reserves established by the Government of India, which is in different categories related to IUCN. So these are the various biosphere reserves. Okay, one is cold desert. Even the cold desert in Himachal Pradesh is also a biosphere reserves. Okay, and Nanda Devi is in World Network of Biosphere Reserve. This has been recognized by UNESCO. So like Sundarban, Nokrek, Nilgiri, Agasthamya, Achankamar, Amarkantak, Panchmadi, and Nanda Devi. All these and Kanchenjunga and Great Nicobar and Gulf of Mannar. These are in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Apart from that, we have Simlipa, Sisachalam, all those things. Okay, Dehang, Dibang. Okay. Now, what is basically a biosphere reserves is a big question. So there, the main thing is that in biosphere reserves we have a core area where wildlife and forest is there. Okay, then we have a buffer area where people can go for commercial activities. Commercial activity by means collecting wood, firewood, all those things. Okay, but they cannot make a permanent structure here, cannot reside. Then we have a transition area where people can build home, like you can see. So people can go into this buffer area tourism zone, but not into the core area. This is basically for the habitat where animals can roam freely in this area. So that is why a biosphere reserve is basically a biosphere reserve is basically a very good concept where we see a transition between a forest and human kind. There is a coexistence. So this biosphere thing is basically dependent on the coexistence of human and nature. Okay, then basically what does the biosphere reserves actually help in? So biodiversity, settlement, human settlement, research, education, and monitoring, all those things. Okay. I think we have answered this. Okay, state true and false. This is a pretty straightforward question. UNESCO global parks are important for the conservation, protection, management of their fossils, stratigraphy, mineral, and other geological research. Yes. So, what are the global parks? We'll see in the next slide. So, yeah, this is a true statement. UNESCO global parks are actually important for the conservation, protection, management of the fossil fuels, stratigraphy, minerals, and other geological interest. So this is basically a global park. So global park is basically these are single unified global areas, geographical area. This should not be scattered like scattered apart. So some part is here, some part is there. No, it is a unified area where the sites or landscape of international geological significance. Like you see here, what is the geological significance here? This is actually a volcano. You can see the crater here for the volcano, and they have actually planted a lot of grasses here and managed with a holistic concept of protection, education, and sustainable development. And geoparks are actually sustained through geotourism. So people go there for tourism. You can see a lot of things here going, and various roads and pathways are also there, like excursion, natural trails, guided tours, hiking, and academic meets. Okay, so you can see what are the different meaning of the geoparks, why these are. So yeah, for India, when you ask a question like what are the geoparks in India, so far as of now, this is a very new concept in I think 2017 itself. uh, so far as of now, we don't have any geoparks, but government of India has applied for some geoparks, like some places to be recognized as geoparks. So you can see what a beautiful scenery. Sea here, mountains here with forest, and then this. Oh, this looks good actually. Any questions, students? No questions? Okay. So these are the biosphere reserves and these are the geoparks. Okay. Then we have to match the sustainable development goals in group A with the respective terms in group B. So I think before we go to sustainable development goals, you guys can have a good view of this slide because this is a very good slide actually. I found it very important. Basically, this one especially, how there can be a coexistence. Generally, there is a feel that when people will grow, then they will cut down the forest for their. But no, there can be coexistence between people and forest both. So we can have a coexistence. This is how it can be shown. So we can derive the benefits from the forest also, and we cannot harm the forest also itself. Okay. And then let's move to the next slide then. This one is done. Then we have to match the sustainable development goals with the group A in their respective themes. So sustainable development goal 2, sustainable development goal 3, goal 12 and goal 15. So goal 2 is basically end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition. This is basically ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. So this is related to food. Okay. Stage three, not only food, also industry, also industrial products, also protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. So the correct answer is answer C here. So these are the basic various goals, sustainable development goals. So before sustainable development goals, we have MDG, Millennial Development Goals. Now we have sustainable development goals from 2015 and they are going to be fulfilled in 2030 itself or something for 15 years. No poverty is first, zero hunger is second, good health and well-being is third, quality education is fourth, gender equality is fifth, clean water and sanitation is sixth, affordable and clean energy is seven, decent work and economic growth is eight, industry innovation and infrastructure in ninth, reduce inequalities is 10, sustainable cities and communities is 11, responsible consumption and production is 12, climate action is 13, life below water is 14, life on land is 15, peace, justice and strong institutions is 16, partnership for goals is 17. Okay, so before moving to the next slide, I think I should make you guys give you some time on this slide so you guys can have a good understanding about the different sustainable development goals. So if you have any questions regarding this, please feel free to ask in the chat box. Okay. Okay. So let me see if there are any questions from you guys. So how will we track sustainable development goals to be achieved or not achieved? Sustainable development compliance progress, how can we get the detail? So actually what happens, so we have conference of parties every year. So that's where they discuss this sustainable development goals. Apart from that, there are different uh, sessions conducted by United Nations also. So there are various ministries meet, all those things. They track sustainable development goals every year. Okay, and then they see how much is the progress or something. So you see a lot of things. So generally, these are not very binding goals, compelling goals. These are not binding goals on the environment in the different countries, but they different countries actually get inspired from these goals because these are very comprehensive goals. You see, apart from the uh, different other things. So you see different governments when they make policies, they take these goals very seriously when making policies. All the governments are actually more serious about achieving these goals, and various researchers and various environment enthusiasts are actually more focusing on putting pressure on the government to fulfill these goals. Like when you see these goals like no poverty, every government wants to have no poverty. India itself has, I think, in the last 10 years, they have raised something around 22 million something from the poverty, zero hunger, so good health and well-being, everything. These are not goals which are very different from what different governments are doing. That's why these goals are actually very much looked into. These are very comprehensive, being in consultation with all the countries. They have drafted these goals, and these are actually very good goals to achieve a better sustainable living. Okay, so let's move to the next. Okay, so next is match the group A with their description in group B. So this is very important question. I sanctuaries. So sanctuaries is basically sanctuary. Then we have sanctuary, national parks, conservation reserve, and community reserve. Okay. So sanctuary is something which is national parks is something which is protected area, privately owned land, either by individual or entire community. No, for the purpose of protecting and development working areas by this so this is national park. Okay, for the purpose of protecting propagating. Okay, no, not this is national park. Let me reach. This is a national park. It has to be declared for protecting, propagating different development wildlife for its environment. Okay, then we have sanctuaries, then we have conservation reserves. Okay, then we have community reserve. Okay, so P goes to 3, Q goes to 1, S goes to 2, and R goes to 4. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Now let's see the difference between wildlife sanctuary, national parks, and biosphere reserves. So this is very much confusion into the minds of different students. Like, what is a wildlife sanctuary? What is a national park? What is a biosphere reserve? So wildlife sanctuary it is an area which is free from disturbances from human activities and is devoted for the conservation and protection of wildlife. Okay, free from disturbances of human activities. National parks are those reserved area where no human activity is allowed. So here free from disturbances, but here no human activity at any cost is allowed. A biosphere reserves area of land or water that is protected in law by support of conservation ecosystem. There can be human activity in the buffer zone or transition zone. Okay. Wildlife sanctuaries are under the jurisdiction of state government. National parks are under the jurisdiction of central government. Biosphere reserves are created by UNESCO. Okay. Example in Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary in Tamil Nadu. Kaziranga National Park in Assam is National Park, and Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve in the spanning over the Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now you guys will be like very much confused about what is a biosphere, and so please see this video. It has clarified in a very beautiful way what are different biosphere reserves and wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, look after. go and search about these targets, like understand values. What does this mean? Mainstream biodiversity, address incentives, sustainable production, harm rate or loss, sustainable fisheries, manage within limits, reduce pollution, reduce invasion. Some of these targets are actually very much overlapping with the sustainable development goals or something. So these are actually one of the very these seem to be a very comprehensive targets. Minimize reef loss, protected areas, prevent extinction, conserve gene pool, restore ecosystems, enhance resilience, implement Nagoya Protocol. It's not protocol. Revise NBSAPs, respect and conserve TK, improve knowledge and mobilize resources. Okay, then we see they have actually classified into different A, B, C, D. Then address underlying causes like improve awareness of biodiversity. Okay, mainstream biodiversity, reform incentives, implement plans for sustainability. So indicator. So these are basically for CBD strategic goals. Comprehensive biodiversity strategic goals and IC targets. So these are basically different indicators that are basically used for implementing. Okay, so any questions regarding this IC targets? Okay, no questions. So let's move to the next slide then. State true or false. World Health Organization give noise guidelines based on the health parameters for a specific environment. So what do you think? Is it true or false? So first thing, noise is basically noise guidelines. So this must be related to noise pollution. And if it's something which affecting health, then certainly World Health Organization will have a guidelines. This is a true statement. Okay. Then how it is affecting? Let's see in the next slide. So I have basically compiled and listed the different noise levels, sound levels, which they are saying here. For if there is a time limit, so I have also time limit. Okay. So generally for outdoor living areas, it can cause critical health issues are also listed here. Like if you have a sound level of 50 to 55 decibel for 16 hours, so it can cause you annoyance. Okay, and also I put a decibel meter here, like how much till how much decibel it's safe, like 0 to 70 decibel it's safe, 70 to 90 decibel it's okay, matlab it can cause damage but it's okay, 90 to 100 120 decibel high risk of hearing loss, and 120 plus decibel immediate harm. Don't leave the scenario or place where it is 120 plus decibel, you are going to lose your ears. Okay, so outdoor living areas, it can cause you annoyance, like you will be like very irritated hearing 50 to 55 decibels for constantly 16 hours. And we have indoor dwellings like speech intelligibility 35 decibels up to 16 hours. School classroom sleep disturbance 35 decibel during class. Industrial, commercial, and traffic area disturbance of communication 70 decibel for 24 hours. Music through earphones. This is so many people use earphones for music, you know. So see 85 decibels, and where it is 85 decibel, potential damage. Okay, for 1 hour itself, if you listen for 85 decibel, it can cause a potential damage to hearing. Okay, ceremonies and entertainment generally we have during marriage functions or different functions. So hearing impairment 100, which is a risk of at risk of hearing loss. Okay, bedrooms bedrooms hearing impairment 30 decimal for 8 hours. Okay, so bedrooms are for sleeping, so don't play a very high sound there also. Okay, so this was a very good actually compilation of different sound levels and time limits and different noise levels in our everyday life. So can you guys classify any other sound levels or which you think is harmful for our day-to-day life? Let's see your answers and discuss what can be. Kanha National Park in MP, sir, human goes there and book their jungle safari, so is allowed human activity in the national park. No will no. Kanha National Park in the national park itself, the core area, people are not allowed to go. Not allowed to go. Or if they are allowed to go, they are in the transition zone on which in which they can go. Okay, not in the core of the jungle. Or maybe if they are allowed to go, then there will be some special permission from the state government itself or some biodiversity or authority which is looking after the national park, which have allowed them for the tourist purposes, because national parks are generally under central government, so they are actually much more regulated. Subodh has raised a hand. Subodh, please go through your question. Yeah, factories, they do. Uh, Okay, so you are saying that factory levels are all the. So I don't think they here in the slide which I saw the factory levels were actually mentioned. So what are you talking about? Like this one? No, 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 no. Actually, see, in India, EPA makes so whatever pollution guidelines are made, it is made with respect to EPA guidelines. Okay, Environment Protection Act. WHO basically gives the guidelines for health parameters or specific environment. Like WHO is proposing something. Based on that, we make our own guidelines. Those can be stringent also, those can be loose also. Okay. So World Health Organization is like a guiding body for all the different countries worldwide. Got it? Doesn't mean that India will. If stringent guidelines are needed for Indian conditions, then surely India will need stringent guidelines. Okay, like in the case I could say that India has one of the stringent guidelines for emission from vehicular emissions. Very stringent, very stringent. You cannot imagine your car is actually the BS6 car which you are buying is actually clean car. It is much cleaner than the electric vehicle. Okay, so you guys will say that sir, electric vehicle doesn't emit any emission. Okay, but it runs on electricity and that electricity is coming from the grid. And how that electricity is getting produced? Through coal. And coal generates a lot of emission. So if you compare the electric vehicle emissions and the this uh, BS6 car emission, BS6 car is much more cleaner than the electric vehicle. So yeah, India is going towards the electric vehicle because we are shifting towards renewables also at a very faster rate. So in the near future, in the upcoming decades, the shift will be much higher for the renewable. So all the electric vehicles will get clean energy. But as of now, electric vehicles are more polluting than the BS6 vehicles. Okay. Now, should we move to the next slide? Now, the which country has not taken part in the project Natural Capital Accounting and Valuation of Ecosystem Services? So yeah, we see that for this USA is not a part. Brazil, China, India, South Africa, Mexico are the part of this National Capital Accounting and Valuation Ecosystem Services. So this is the system of environmental and economic accounting. So this is a project was launched in 2017 with an aim to advance both knowledge agenda and development of policy application of the environment economic accounting. Okay, not only environment for the particular system ecosystem accounting. So countries are Brazil, China, India, Mexico, and South Africa. So these are various views on which they are actually working on. So this is the NCVS, like National Capital Accounting in various thing. In Brazil, has compiled a range of ecosystem accounts and studies at national level. Okay, and Mexico also compiled the national land and ecosystem accounts, national ecosystem condition accounts, ecosystems service supply accounts. Okay, quantify four policy scenarios similar for China, compared policy pilot ecosystem account, and similar for this South Africa here. Okay. For India, India initiated an annual publication on the environment economic accounting, compiled a range of ecosystem accounts, extend condition ecosystem services studies at the national level, developed a suite of pilot local ecosystem accounts for Karnataka state, developed an economic valuation tool for environment impact assessment as well as for environmental accounting, organized a 3-day multi-stakeholder NCVS India National Forum with participation of three Indian ministers, United Nations Chief Economist, the Executive Director of UNEP, that is United Nations Environment Plan, Executive Secretary of CBD, Center of Biological Diversity Authority, and more than 1,000 participants. Okay. So now you got a good idea of what NCVS in India has and all those countries. Moving to the next question. Under Environment Protection Act, which of the following rules standard CPCB provides for the noise? Okay, so in India, CPCB makes the guideline for the noise under the Environment Protection Act. So basically, it makes noise guidelines for the vehicles and airport. That is for different vehicles like horns, truck horns, pressure horns, and aircrafts noise. Okay, noise levels for the generator, diesel generator, firecrackers noise rules. You see a lot of noise rules in the firecrackers that it should be below this level, not WHO. So only 1, 2, and 3 is the correct option. Now we have to match the theme A with their description in group B. So like we have gross ecosystem product, we have gross GDP, gross domestic product also. Okay, so based on the gross domestic product, we have gross ecosystem product also. So gross ecosystem product, so like GDP, it has a market-based thing. So market-based approach is used to incentivize conservation-related activities. Total value of the financial goods and so on. So this is the gross ecosystem product. Total goods, because total goods of the financial services, total goods which are produced in the domestic region of the country is called goods and services, both in GDP. So total value of final ecosystem goods and services supplied to the human well-being in a region annually can be measured in terms of biophysical value and monetary value. So P is 3. Q is access and benefit sharing, system in which genetic resources may be accessed and benefits resulted from their use shared by users with country that provide them. Okay, and then we have payment for ecosystem services, market-based approaches to incentivize, okay, and conservation related activities. Which country initiated International Union for Conservation of Natural Nature project? So which country initiated? So answer is China actually. Okay, and IUCN is actually a very grown into very important project also. So we'll see later about IUCN. Before that, let's see what it does. So it has three categories: extinct, threatened, and least concern. This is basically for animals, and not only for animals. This is also for fauna also. So in extinct category, no reasonable doubt that a last individual has died, like dodo. Dodo was a bird, so it has gone extinct. Asiatic lions, those are very vulnerable. Extinct in the wild, like there are no survivors in the wild, but some of them are kept in the zoo. Okay, critically endangered, facing extremely high risk of extinction in the wild, like some vultures. Okay, golden eagled vultures, um, vultures. Okay, mountain vultures or something. Then we have endangered, facing a high risk of extinction in the wild. Vulnerable, facing a high risk of extinction in the wild. Then we have near threatened, three category in threatened, close to qualifying or likely to qualify for a threatened category in the near future. Least concern, population is stable enough that is unlikely to face extinction in the near future, like crow. Population is stable. Data deficient, not enough information on the abundance or distribution of the estimated risk of extinction. Okay. So before that, before we end, I think let's see what IUCN does actually. This is a very good compilation of videos here. So what is FDP? So those are for faculty. Actually, those covered under the faculty development program, they get a different certificate, faculty development certificate. Those are required by the faculty to furnish the certificate in some course. If they want to teach in EIA, so they need to have a course in FDP certificate. Okay, we can take it. I have no idea whether you can take it or not. I think if you are faculty, then you are eligible to take it. Contact your local SWAYAM chapter or your college. Okay. This whole thing is coral reef, and you can see the different animals or fishes which it supports It's about a host of things. So if we consider marine ecosystem, then we have to consider the coral reef also. Marine ecosystem is uh, not properly a ecosystem without these coral reefs. IUCN, you can see a lot of meetings. So these are actually dignitaries from different countries, and they're meeting to discuss different things. Similar, these meetings happen for SDG also. Okay, at Conference of Parties